He's pretty good. He'll be okay.
Well, we had a plan, but Krishna had a different plan, so Krishna's plan prevailed, right?
It's right on the shelf. It's right.
Are you in charge? Just a little bit. I don't know. Well, let's offer our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Sadaya Krishnasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sundari Paschata Deshakarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shiva Sri Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. Because we just spent some time honoring merchandise here today, I thought it would be nice to share one of these wonderful divas. This is the Mahaprakash. And who's our Sanskrit scholar here that can tell us what the meaning of Mahaprakash? What's the meaning?
I guess I'm not a Sanskrit scholar.
I'm not either, but it's just teasing.
It's a bright, too much brightness.
Prakash means that's the effulgence. The light of the sun is Prakash. There's another meaning that, when there's light, something is revealed. When there's light, there's something revealed. Mahaprakash, Lila, is a very nice pastime where Lord Chaitanya revealed his divinity to everybody in a very, very special way. Yeah. It's not much discussed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it is very elaborately discussed in Chaitanya Bhagavad. Chaitanya Bhagavad is by a different author. Krishnadas Kaviraj was the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And so let's come over here. Come over on this side. Because Krishnadas Kaviraj had a super huge advantage to because his ability as a copy was a learned person and poet. He had multiple years association of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami had multiple years of association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri. And not only his association, but he, Raghunath Das, was put, when he finally reached Puri after much some ordeal, he was put in the care of Swarup Damodar. He was called, because there are other Raghunaths, he was called the Raghu of Swarup. And Swarup Damodar, who can say who was Swarup Damodar in Krishna Lila? Nobody knows. Lalita and Vishaka were the two, Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar. So how intimate was the two, Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, in those final, most ecstatic years of Lord Chaitanya's duration of stay in this earthly realm, in Puri, the Antya-lila portion of his life. They were there, and they knew his mood. And when he entered a certain mood, they knew verses to recite and songs to sing that would augment him, that mood, and calm him down because he was like a madman. They were in intimate knowledge of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's higher ecstasies. Higher ecstasies means the love of Radha for Krishna in separation from Krishna. And as Radha, and there are many wonderful descriptions of the love of Radha and the feelings of separation for her, with her and her gopi friends, and all those wonderful pastimes that are the Swamis described. He, Swarup Damodar, kept a diary, Kadacha, and he passed that diary, written diary, on to Raghunath Das. And Raghunath Das, when he went to live in Vrindavan, he was going to give up his life in the mood of separation from Lord Chaitanya. But Rupa Goswami instructed him, no, he didn't say, that's my plan. He could tell from his mood. He wanted to finish his life, jump off Govardhan Hill. But first, he was in Sanatan, who he had association with Puri. So, just to make it go up. Longer than this rod, it doesn't. But it's it. Okay, fantastic. Rupa Goswami told Raghunath Das, you can't give up your life. What, he gave logical reasons why you can't. But by spiritual reasons, we've been serving in separation, and you've been with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you know all those pastimes, and you want to give up your life, so we'll never get to hear. No. You recite the pastimes that you experienced firsthand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri, every day for 3 to 4 hours, every day. And in the audience, Krishna Das Kaviraj, along with the book, the Kadacha, the diary, the Rupa Sanatana, the Swarup Damodar. And because how is anyone going to know? He knew through those two sources, first-hand sources. And thus he knew so much about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes from the time he reached Puri to the time he left the world. And that's half of his life. And the early part of his life was known firsthand by Vrindavan Das Thakur. In addition to Vrindavan Das Thakur had a similar description by Murari Gupta. Not exactly the same, but similar. You know, at the Kadija. He kept a little diary of his interactions with Lord Chaitanya. He was very intimate to those. We'll hear something about him probably tomorrow. But so in these two chapters of Madhya Kanda, there's this description of this Mahaprakash Leela, described in detail by Vrindavan Das Thakur. And the style, we're more familiar with, certainly more familiar with Chaitanya Charitamrita than Chaitanya Bhagavat. And you'll see as we go along that the style is very different. Krishnadas Kaviraj is style of like writing in Sanskrit. Oh, he wrote it in Bengali. I've asked sometimes some Bengali born and speaking persons to translate certain sections, you know, the inner meanings and things like that. They said that they can't. It's too high. And and with scripture references and Vrindavan Das Thakur is very different. It's very from the heart, it just flows. He's not lacking in knowledge. He just has a different personality and different style of as we go on. Mahaprakash Leela happened at a certain point in time. It happened at a point in time after his initiation. Ishwara Puri came to Navadvip because, like his spiritual master, Madhavendra Puri, he traveled. So, but Madhavendra Puri was in a Paramahamsa stage. He traveled, but he didn't ask for alms. And Ishwara Puri, his disciple, had a similar mood. The similar mood, by the way, is this mood of separation. The mood of the gopis' separation from Krishna. That was Madhavendra Puri's gift. He passed it on to Ishwara Puri. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, he was already there, but he also manifested the same mood. So Ishwara Puri was traveling as a mendicant sannyasi would do. And when he went to holy places, one of those holy places was Navadvip. At the time, it was not only a holy place, but it was a seat of high Brahminical culture and high breeding. So he came. And when he came, Nimai met him. And Nimai immediately was attracted. He fell at his feet and requested, please come to our home and take the meal with Sachi. She's a wonderful cook. And she'll be very happy. So he did that. And so little limited association, some affection already was kindled between the two. Later, his father died. And one of the rituals of the time, and still to some extent going on, there's a place, Gaya, that's kind of up on a hill, and there's a embedded marking of the foot of Vishnu, and it's at that place that the Shraddha ceremony was often performed. So he went with the students. Nimai went with the students. So the earlier part of his pastime was super scholar, teacher of Sanskrit grammar. nice stories about all of that. But when he saw Ishwar Puri for the second time and requested Diksha, and Ishwar Puri gave him mantra Diksha, it marked a radical change in the direction of his life. From the super scholar, my Pandit, to now disinterested in teaching altogether. He continued for a while. He took the rules, the catechism that you go through to learn Sanskrit grammar, and he made it all into the names of Krishna, the names of Krishna. And his students were wondering what guided him, what's wrong. So they started criticizing him. And he was already lost interest in teaching. He abandoned the profession of being a teacher. And so the shift was he began the Sankirtan pastimes. When that happened, that's when Nityananda came. The omniscient Nityananda knew when this was taking place, he came. And then the two Gaura Thai came together in the pastimes. And in the beginning stage, it wasn't public. It wasn't public for several reasons. One of the reasons was the Muslim leaders didn't like it. Second reason was the Brahmana Pandits didn't like it. Why the Brahmana Pandits didn't like it? Their livelihood was being undercut. They were doing yajnas for people who wanted spiritual, benefit as well as whatever the other things that they wanted. And the Brahmanas were needed to perform those yajnas. Karmakanda yajnas. The Brahmanas. So they were upset. What's this young fellow doing? And they complained to the cousin. So it was indoors. But indoors isn't like a nice suburban home here in the office. The house of Srivas Pandit was the place. But the house was a Bengali house, a boundary wall surrounding a gate at the front entrance, and then the extended family members, his brothers and cousins and everybody, and their families, their maid servants and everybody, living together. And in the front side, maybe some of you have been here, still available, still point to visit. There's a front area is called mandap, means like a canopy, and it opened to the wind, not enclosed kind of temple. And on one end was the altar, and the other end was where the beginning of the house part of the kitchen and take off the tables. So that's what it said in the house of Srivas, they had kirtan, and they locked the gate because there would be intruders and troublemakers. Worse. So Lord Nityananda was with him, and on one fine day, my Pandit, decided to reveal his identity as the Supreme Personality, all-knowing. Because before he's student, teacher, devotee, but a devotee of the Supreme Lord, not the Supreme Lord. For 21 hours, he manifested his divinity in different ways. We'll hear of some of those ways described by the Dhammasana. The formal name is Shaka Harat Praharya Bhava. Prahara is 3 hours, and 7 praharas is 21 hours. So for 7 praharas, so for 21 hours, he exhibited this pastime. And you can see in this painting, at least the artist has placed Narada Muni, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, participating along with this. The other associates you can see to Lord Chaitanya's right, Lord Nityananda and Advaita, and Lord Chaitanya's left, Srivas and Gadadhar. So it's at the house of Srivas, this is looking and background of the Ganges. So one day, with Nityananda, he came to the house of Srivas, and everyone understood his movement was different. And so they began kirtan, and right in the middle of kirtan, Lord Chaitanya, who previously concealed his mood as devotee, abruptly sat on the throne, sat on the altar for 21 hours. And began by his ordering worship. And so they did. They worship just like it, very similar to a deity installation, or when you perform abhishek to or on festival days when it's like Corpus Day and it's a deity comes with Krishna's Janmashtami, some abhishek. So the same procedure. It's a standard procedure. They prepared, taking water from the Ganga and mixed the water of the Ganga with these 4 ingredients described by Vrindavan Das. Musk, sandalwood, kumkum, and camphor in certain proportions, and that became the water for bathing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. First, Nityananda poured Ganga water on his head, and then Advaita and Srivas, because Advaita and Srivas are particularly learned, and so they, while bathing him, they recited Purusha Sukta mantras. What's the Purusha Sukta? Purusha Sukta mantras are important. They're taken from Big Veda, and it's the same Purusha Sukta mantras that, for example, when the demigods went to the shore of the ocean of milk, and in the White Island, Svetadweep, in the middle of the ocean of milk, they offered Purusha Sukta prayers with the intent, along with the prayers, that the Supreme Lord should appear and rescue the earth from the Mania kings. So Purusha Sukta, very standard and very important, but little intricate, the Veda mantras are. And so everyone gathered water from the Ganges, and one of the ladies that gathered water from the Ganges, her name was Duki. And as was the practice at the time, she was part of the extended family. She wasn't like a biological member of the family, she was just a maidservant, and she did stuff in the house. She cleaned, and she cooked, and she did very simple maidservant duties. She was named Duki because she had a mood about her that was sad. But she was really happy because of 100 pansies you can see in clay pots. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Nimai Pandit, saw her mood, he took away, Vrindavan Das says, or writes, he took away her sadness and made her happy. Then he started calling her Suki. Then after the bathing comes the dressing. So they had new cloth, and they dressed him in new cloth and fragrant sandalwood paste, and Nityananda held an umbrella over his head. And the significance is Ananta Shesh was the resting place for Lord Vishnu. He has hoods, and the hoods are explicitly compared to an umbrella to cover the Lord from elements and the sun and so forth. As Ananta does, Lord Nityananda does, because Lord Ananta is an extension of Balaram or Nityananda. So there he is with his umbrella over his head. And then there's other items that were given. There you can see at the bottom of the painting, the arti, camphor and ghee lamp, incense, chamra, and exactly as described by the Swami Bhaktivinoda Thakur that we sing, "Oh, you were eating arti." So, and all the articles that are being offered are mentioned by name, and so they did. And in addition to those articles used during the arti, they worshipped him. They gave him new Brahman spread, new clothes, ornaments, sandalwood paste, tulsi, manjaris, flowers, incense lamps, foodstuffs, worship. And again, this painting, this four-headed Brahman between the arti and the so they're participants in this glorification of Mahaprabhu. And then after those articles comes food. And they were very, very happy to offer him many nice cooked items. The description by Vrindavan Das Thakur included banana soap, mung dal, yogurt, condensed milk, buttermilk, coconut pulp with sugar, various sweets, water, camphor, etc. And he ate it all. And then he had personal exchanges with everyone, or at least with very prominent persons. And the way this starts is Srivas is called first. When he comes forward, Nimai Pandit, now manifesting his divinity, asks Srivas to remember that time when you attended a Bhagavad Katha given by Devananda Pandit. Devananda Pandit was Mayavadi. But Mayavadis also like to read Srimad Bhagavatam because they give their interpretation of Bhagavatam. And when Srivas was hearing him recite Srimad Bhagavatam, a certain passage from Srimad Bhagavatam, one of Krishna's pastimes, he lost it. He went into a swoon of ecstasy. He was seated at the ground, he fell on the ground, started rolling around, making loud sounds. They thought he was intoxicated or something. So Devananda Pandit didn't understand what was going on. So he ordered the guards to toss him out, pick him up and keep him out of the assembly. And Srivas was very upset. Felt misunderstood. He didn't tell, but the important thing, he didn't tell anybody. He went back to his house. He didn't tell his family members. And then, but there was the personality of Godhead, Vishnu, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he knew. So he appeared at the house of Srivas, not identifying that I'm the personality of Godhead, just saying, I understand what just happened, acknowledged him, described, you're at a very elevated state. He said a number of words to Srivas. So he felt understood, felt comforted, and his anxiety. So he might probably said, remember that? How do you know that? So he goes, I was the one who comforted you. And it made you feel accepted and understood. She was felt unconscious because he's the omniscient Lord. Then comes Gangadas Pandit. A little bit about Gangadas Pandit. When Nimai was young, there was a Sanskrit scholar not far, living distance from Jagannath Mishra's home. Jagannath Mishra knew Gangadas was superlative Sanskrit scholar. So he approached Gangadas and asked him, could you train my son? So he was his teacher. He was his Sanskrit teacher. So it was an intimacy that keeps your student between Nimai and Gangadas. So he called Gangadas, you please come. And he reminded Gangadas of something that nobody knew. There was a danger that came, because he was a Grahastha, a danger came to his wife and children when there were Muslim soldiers coming to town, and they were in a vicious move and smashing temples and harming devotees. He Gangadas, was very concerned about the welfare of his family, so he decided he would go to the Ganges, find a boat, and cross the boat to the other side of the Ganges to protect his wife. There was no boat. And so he started calling very loudly names of his people. And the Supreme Lord heard him from Vaikuntha. Later, he said, remember that boatman came and came from safety to the other side? Because I can't bear to see the distress of my devotees like this. To protect your family, I came to the boatman to protect you, carry you to the other side of the world. Gangadas. He didn't tell anybody. And family knew it, but didn't tell anybody else. Next was Kolavitra Shuddha. This was a very nice section. So many of you know of Kolavitra Shuddha, and now you know more than you did. Kolavitra Shuddha, by occupation, was a Vaishya, but by disposition, he was a Brahmana. Certainly a Vaishnava. And his occupation was Kolavitra. He lived his home. This is a little, modern little structure that depicts where his home was. Because where his home was before was just a little shanty, like a house without a straw roof. And he lived very simply. And his occupation was selling product from the banana trees. Banana leaves, with banana leaves, he would make banana cups, banana flowers, bananas, banana stalks. That was like, and then he'd go by the side of the Ganges, set up a cloth, and sell his wares. And one of the persons that came every day was Nimai, because there was affection between the two. So this is Shuddha Anga. And the way Vrindavan describes that he, Nimai, ordered the devotees, bring Shuddha. And how are you going to find Shuddha? Because he was down the Ganges, and there's no street lights. There's only this little dirt path. It's beside the Ganges. But you don't worry, you just go that way, follow the path of the Ganges, and you'll hear him. Because he chants very loudly all night long. Just, you'll find him. So they went following him because he's in this, the Ishvara mood, this Mahaprakash. So while he was gone, while his students or followers were gone, he started describing him in his glories. There's a little illustration showing the grove of banana trees, and he would chop the banana leaves and make banana plates and banana flowers, banana cups, leaf cups, that like that, bananas, etc. And his disposition was charitable and worship. He earned next to nothing, and half of his next to nothing was given toward the worship of the Ganges. And the other half was maintaining himself. And he was, although in the behavior or the occupation of Vaishya, he never, I learned this from reading biographies about Prabhupada. In Bengal, there's negotiation. There's no fixed price. The price is whatever the vendor thinks you can afford. Up and down. Because Prabhupada said, when they see you Americans come, the price is quadruple. Just to see you. So you have to do training and you have to how you partner. Because that's the program. So unlike most Vaishyas, he wasn't like that. He fixed the price and didn't deviate from the price. That was it. There was no bartering with him. Those who knew his glories would buy his goods without bargaining. Here's a nice lady, and he's offering what he has, and he went the price, and he did the price, and that's it. Tracy. He passed the entire night without sleep, while loudly chanting the name of Krishna and Hari. So Lord Chaitanya, like Pandit is describing all of these things, while they went to find him. And he writes, all the atheists complained about Sridhar's loud cries. They considered him a low-class fellow who couldn't fill his stomach. And being afflicted with hunger, he stayed up all night. Without calling him the names of the Lord, they thought he was just wailing because of poverty and being a low-class person. The illustration is meant to show there he is with his bananas and his leaf plates or leaves, and there's the local people finding fault with him, criticizing him, calling him names. He was considered a low-class person. So they found him. They found him the way that you might find it said they were finding him by loud cries all night long. Loud cries all night long. And so they brought him to the house of Srivas, or brought him before Vishwambara. The Lord was pleased to see him and spoke. You have worshipped me so long. You have passed many lifetimes to obtain my love. In this life, you have also served me so much. I always eat rice off of your banana leaves. And the features of Lord Chaitanya are most attractive and charming. And Sridhar was charmed. Grew its done. So Lord's going to have some fun. The Lord daily visited Sridhar's shops shop. The shop was a little cloth on the side of the edges. And bought banana leaves, bananas, and banana stems. He would daily quarrel with Trinhard for 2 hours. And then buy his goods from the half price. Now, many devotees, 2 hours, maybe a little more than 2 hours, something. That's a good amount of time for chanting a chapa. So, along with chanting a chapa, it was 2 hours worth of haggling with Sridhar. Daily. Sridhar would stand up, grab hold of the goods, and a tug of war would ensue. And this way, Sridhar and the Lord would shove each other. Vrindavan Das, in his own way of saying things. The Lord would say, "Oh, brother Sridhar, why do you live like an ascetic when you have so much money?" Teasing him. But his wealth is not monetary, his wealth is something else. Why are you taking the good from my hands? Don't you know yet who I am? This is the Mahaprabhu. The most rabbinical Sridhar would not become angry. After looking at the Lord's face, you gave him all the goods. Sridhar said, "Listen, O respected Brahmana, please forgive me, I'm your fault." The Lord said, "I know, you're very clever. You've created so much wealth by selling banana leaves." Note the painting on the right side. Our left side, that's what you're telling with tears in his eyes. Are there no other shops, Sridhar asked? Go there and buy like leaves cheaper. The Lord replied, "I will not give up my supplier. Take my money and give me stems and bananas." On seeing the Lord's beauty, Sridhar would become overwhelmed in his honor. Then Vishwambara would jubilantly speak harsh words. There's no unique relationship. So some of those loving exchanges. You buy ingredients that you regularly offer to the Ganges. So what is wrong if you give me a discount? I'm the father of the Ganges, whom you regularly worship. This is the truth, I'm telling you. Sridhar would cover his ears with his hands and exclaim, "Vishnu, Vishnu." Seeing the Lord so arrogant, Sridhar would give him all the leaves and stems. In this way, they both regularly quarreled with each other. Sridhar considered the Lord a most restless Brahmin. The two words are used here: arrogant and restless. He didn't see his divinity, he just saw a young Brahmin boy. Sridhar thought, this Brahmin is very impressive. I'm afraid that one day he'll beat me. But even if he beats me, what can I do? Brahmana. At the same time, I can't climb a tree, charge every day. Anyway, whatever this Brahmana takes by force or deceit, that's my good fortune, so I'll continue to give it. Sridhar said, "I'm defeated. Please leave me alone. I'll give you something free. I'll give you a piece of stem, a few bananas, and a few leaves. Then, am I still at fault?" The Lord said, "Good, good. I have no more complaints. I won't fight anymore. Let's see that I get good quality bananas and banana stalks." The Lord then said, "Sridhar, you always chant the name of Hari. So why are you always afflicted by poverty? Can you please tell me why, after serving the beloved Lord of Lakshmi, you do not get sufficient food and clothes?" So Lakshmi God's fortune was consort of Lord Hari or Lord Narayana. Sridhar replied, please, I'm not starving. And whether small or large, I'm still wearing two clothes. The Lord said, but I see your clothes are mended in 10 places. And the roof of your cottage has no straw. And those who are worshippers of Chandi and Vishahari, they have no scarcity for food and cloth. Now, on the right side, there's Durga, and she's pictured in the Himalayas as the consort of Lord Shiva. And you remember when Durga slipped from the hands of Kamsa, the statement was made that after that happened, she would be known throughout the land by these different names, Chandi, Vishani, just named Durga. So first, Durga worship is not by different names. And people have no scarcity for the cloth. So give the worshiper Hari. Shiva replied, yet time passes equally for everyone as they enjoy the fruits of their previous activities by the will of the Lord. The Lord then said, you have great wealth that you are secretly enjoying. I will soon disclose this to everyone. Then how will you choose? Well, the Lord daily used Shridhar's leaf cups. He ate sabjis made from Shridhar's plantain, banana flowers, banana stalks. Whenever a squash grew on the roof of Shridhar's cottage, the Lord would eat it cooked with milk and black pepper. The Lord then said, tell me, what do you think of me? After you answer this, I'll go home. Shridhar replied, you are Brahmana, a portion of Lord Vishnu. The Lord said, you don't know. Actually, I'm both of them. Although you see me as the son of a Brahmana, I consider myself a coward. You can tell who the artist is by all the colors of the pushkar. He has a certain style. So he's referring Shridhar to his position as a coward. Shridhar smiled at the word, but due to the illusory energy, could not recognize his story. When the exalted Shridhar raised his head, he saw that Vishwambar was blackish, like a palm tree. He held an enchanting flute in his hands, and Balaram stood at his right side. Shridhar saw the entire place was filled with bright effulgence. He's revealing his divinity to this very simple Vaishnava. He saw the goddess Lakshmi offer fatal nuts into the hand of the Lord, and the four-headed Brahma and the five-headed Shiva offer their prayers. The Lord, he saw Ananta hold his thousands of hoods as an umbrella over the head of the Lord in Shankar, Sanaka, Narada, and Shukadev chanting the glories of the Lord. All of this is manifest for the purpose of the Lord to blow his mind, to have him understand all these intimate dealings that I had with you. You've been dealing with the personality of God. I'm seeing the Shridhar was struck with one and fell to the ground. The Lord asked him to offer in prayers. Here's the prayer. It's really beautiful. All glories to Mahaprabhu. This time he was my fun. All glories to Vishwambar. That was the family name given by his parents. All glories to the Lord of Navadvip, he who was born from the womb of the pious mother Shachi, who is unknown to the Vedas, who assumed various forms at every age to protect religious principles, who can know you unless you reveal yourself. You are Dharma, Karma, Bhakti, and Gyan. You are the scriptures, Vedas, and you are the object of meditation. You are the mystic perfections. You are prosperity, enjoyment, and yoga. You are faith, compassion, illusion, and greed. You are Indra. You are Chandra. You are Agni and Varuna. You are Surya. You are Vayu. You are the wealth and strength. You are devotional service. You are liberation. That's it. He's on a roll. The water of the Ganges has emanated from your feet. My sinful heart didn't recognize you, nor did I understand the glories of your invaluable lotus feet. It was through devotional service that Bhishma conquered you on the battlefield, and it was through devotional service that Yashoda bound you. It was through devotional service that Satyabhama scolded you. Being controlled by devotional service, you carried a counter damsel of Braja on your shoulders, Radharani. You personally carry the counter boy Sridham. You are conquered by devotional service, and therefore it is most confidential. Ordinary people do not understand this. After hearing Sridhar's translated prayers, all the exalted Vaishnavas were struck with wonder. So now, back in the house of Srivas, I mean, all this is in the house of Srivas, and everyone's hearing this exchange between the two. They're astonished. The Lord repeatedly asked Sridhar to request a benediction. And the painting showing Nimai running away with bananas, and Sridhar's calling. Sridhar then asked, let that Brahman who forcibly took away my banana leaves be my Lord birth after birth. Let me always engage in the service of the lotus feet of that Brahmana who constantly quarrels with me. Vishwambar smiled and said, listen, Sridhar, I want to make you the king of a great kingdom. Sridhar replied, I do not want anything. Make such arrangement, O Lord, that I may chant your names. The Lord said, O Sridhar, you are my servant. That is why you're able to see my opulences. So like all these that list is like, the opulences of the Absolute from the Bhagavad Gita. Only instead of Krishna and Arjuna being revealed, it's Sridhar's being revealed. And why? Because you're my devotee. You're my servant, you're able to see. That is why your mind is not deviated from me. Thus, I'm giving you devotional service that is confidential to the Vedas. Anyone who hears the prayers of Sridhar and the benediction he received from the Lord will obtain the wealth of prema and love of God. Devotees, get ready. Now, it doesn't say how soon. But this is Navadas Thakur's style. Very different style. Very different. So after those three that were mentioned, then comes Murari Gupta. Now, many of you know some things about Murari Gupta. I mentioned one. He kept a diary and he gave that diary to Vrindavan Thakur. So Vrindavan Thakur knew many intimate activities of Nimai Pandit. These people he left Navadvip. And you see that in this painting, there's a form of Lord Ramachandra. So Murari Gupta was simultaneously a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, and he was also a devotee of Ramachandra. There's a nice pastime, quickly. Nimai and Nitai were having their meal together at the house of Sachi and Devanath Mishra. And Murari Gupta's home was very proximate. He came to pay a visit. And when he was came to pay a visit, Nimai, being a Brahmana, he requested Murari Gupta, why are you chanting Ram's name? You should chant Krishna's name. I give you this instruction. Just chant Krishna's name. And Murari Gupta is elder to like the age of his father, but he had that kind of relationship to be giving him this instruction. He came back the next day crying. Please take that instruction and you listen. He chanted Ramachandra's name. And Lord Chaitanya said, my friend said, you are such a devotee of Ramachandra, just testing you. I didn't do it. So please glorify Lord Ramachandra to your heart's content. And here's the pastime where Lord Chaitanya ordered Murari, behold my form, where I saw the Lord as Ramachandra, dark like fresh grass. He saw Sita and Lakshmana on the Lord's right, left, and right. The leaders of the monkeys were offering prayers in the four directions. Nice painting. Murari realized that he was also one of the monkeys. Vishwamara claimed, oh monkey, you forgot how Ravana, who stole Sita, burned you and your face. You burned his entire city and subdued his dynasty. I tell you, I am that Lord. Oh, Murari, get up. Get up. You're my life. I am that Ramachandra. And you are that Hanuman. Now there was a different scene when I was narrating this previously. There was a little boy, maybe about your age, maybe a little older than your age. And I said, tell me what you know about Murari Gupta. In a very soft voice, she said, it's Hanuman. I said, what's your name? The mothers have to teach them children nice stories, nice details about the identities of worship times associates. See your life and soul, the son of Sumitra. You brought Kandamad on the hill to revive his life. The distress of Sita made you cry profusely. Vishwambar again said to Murari Gupta, ask for any benediction you desire. Murari replied, oh Lord, I do not want anything. And we allow me to sing your praises. So his profession was a physician. And his also a gift given to him was that he could sing very nicely. Oh Lord, I may take birth anywhere, but wherever I take birth, let me always remember you. The implicit is, I'm not asking for liberation. I may take birth anywhere, but let me always remember you. Let me reside in the association of your servants from birth after birth. Oh Lord, do not put me in a condition in which you are not my master and I am not your servant, may I remember, may remain your servant wherever you and your associates in. So Murari Gupta has gotten the message, the divinity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord granted this benediction. The Lord awarded the benediction to Murari and declared that anyone who blasphemes Murari will not be delivered even if he takes millions of baths and candies and chants the holy name of Hari. The Lord revealed the meaning of the name Murari Gupta. Gupta means secret. Lord Murari resides in his heart. The Murari is the Ari of Mura, the enemy of Mura. And Haridans. So there's more, but I think I'll just go through the Haridans. I think it's already 10 minutes to 9. It was, you heard the explanation, it was at least the Denver telling us. Lightning, thunder, the whole airport was shut down. You look out the window. No plane can move anywhere. They just stopped. Did this and that. Haridas, incarnation of Brahma and Prahlad. Incarnation of Brahma and Prahlad. Did you know that one? Now you know that one. Haridas, an incarnation of Brahma and Prahlad. Let me ask you, what is Prahlad? What was the stage of spiritual perfection that Prahlad was known for, having achieved spiritual perfection by what process?
Loving Vishnu even in a bad situation.
Never forgetting him. Constant remembrance. Even in difficult situations. Then the Lord mercifully called Haridas and said, you are more dear to me than my own body. I certainly belong to the same caste as you. What caste does Haridas belong to? None. I belong to the same caste as you. I'm that part of the caste. No, it's Lord Chaitanya's teaching. Even not. Listen, Haridas, when the Yavanas beat you in various villages, I saw your distress and descended from my kunda with my disc in my hand in order to cut to pieces everyone. When you desired their benefit, I was unable to use my power against them. I just became powerless because of you. Due to your resolve, I could not sever their heads. But I saw how severely they were beating you. I covered your back. I then took the beating on my own body. Here are the marks. I'm not telling a lie. They beat me, not you, because you weren't feeling any pain, because I was taking. At least that was just Leela that he was fine. On hearing, Haridas immediately fell unconscious to the ground. Mahaprabhu then helped him regain his external consciousness and ordered him to see his Mahaprakash pastimes. His divinity in different ways. With great humility, Haridas offered prayers to Mahaprabhu. Please be merciful to this simple person. I fall at your feet. I have no good qualities. I am a fallen outcast. How can I possibly describe your glories? If one sees me, he becomes sinful. If one touches me, he should take that. Haridas then cited examples of Draupadi, Prahlad, Yudhishthira, the job he loved to establish the Lord's affection for the surrendered devotees. So I'm surrendered to you, we protected all these good personalities. We should protect them. Haridas folded his hands and said, although I'm less fortunate, I have a great desire. Desire. My life is sinful because I'm devoid of remembrance of you. Devoid of remembrance of you. Which is something? Huh? So Prahlad achieved for spiritual perfection by what? Constant remembrance, right? So now he's speaking to Haridas. And Haridas is asking for this prayer. My life is sinful because I'm devoid of remembrance of you. That's his humility. He's always remembering, and therefore he's always protected. Please make my life successful by allowing me to eat the members of your servants. Kindly keep me in a house of a devotee as a dog. I mean, Vaishnavas have humility that we can't really understand. Not just not being huge. Haridas became filled with love and devotion for the Lord. The Lord says, listen, my dear Haridas, anyone who resides with you for even a day or speaks with you for even a moment will certainly achieve me. There's no doubt about it. He's under a tree. He won't go to the temple. He's some distance from the temple. He's an outcast, etc. Anyone who hears the prayers of Haridas and the benediction he received will certainly obtain the treasure of Krishna Prema. Now, there's a little bit more, and I think I'll continue a little bit more tomorrow. On the way over here, like responding to the communication from the devotee. And, College Station, Texas A&M. You know that place is? Near Houston. Not far, northwest of Houston is College Station. Texas A&M is a big place. So, and he's been he was devotee couple, have been conducting this program at Texas A&M for many years and going to visit there for many years. So we're back and forth about what the topic should be. And I'm mentioning this because I can speak for this group of devotees, I can speak freely about these wonderful exchanges between Lord Chaitanya's devotees. But he wants something that's like, what's karma, what signs of self-realization, chapters 1 and 2, something really simple. Let's see if I can ramp them up a little bit. because person should know who is Lord Chaitanya. Just by hearing about him, one gets great benefit, spiritual benefit, just by hearing about him. Even if one doesn't fully understand or whatever. And it's the beginning. And from that beginning, then you can go further and further and further. All of us, started somewhere, and then beginning and getting it further and further and further. So let's see what happens when we get to College Station. But I'd like his students to go beyond 101, maybe 102, 201. Hear a little bit more than just the basic, because if he knows his audience, let's see, if they just stay with the basics, then they better learn the basics very thoroughly, because what's next? And how are they going to be inspired to chant on a regular basis? And read Prabhupada's books on a regular basis. Prabhupada didn't hold that. It's nice being with all of you, because the way Vrindavan Das Thakur writes, there's a certain underlying bhava, mood, and mood is glorification of Chaitanya without limits. They move back and forth between seemingly misbehaving, or just speaking harshly, or teasingly, or aggressively, and then revealing his divinity. I mean, it's very interesting. Can you think of any other theology works like that? I want to end and read to you something that there's a Bindu magazine. Does anybody know what that one is? Madhavananda from Stackle Govinda Maharaj, he lives in Bhubaneswar. And he publishes like every other week a magazine. So because it's the Lord Chaitanya's build up for his appearance, he wrote something very nice in this Hindu magazine. I'm just gonna find it and share it with you. This is from a book, a Christian theologian named John Moffat. This is drawn from Bindu magazine. In his book, Journey to Gorakhpur, an encounter with Christ beyond Christianity. Quoting the book. If I were asked to choose one man in Indian religious history who best represents the pure spirit of devotional self-giving, I would choose the Vaishnavite Saint Chaitanya. Of all the saints in recorded history, East and West, he seems to me the supreme example of a soul carried away on the tide of ecstatic love of God. Though literally worshipped by thousands as Krishna himself, he led a simple and even austere life. His life in the holy town of Puri is the story of a man in a state of almost continuous spiritual intoxication, illuminating discourses, deep contemplation, moods of loving communication with God, with daily occurrences. And then there's more he writes in his book, but that's what's in the video. We'll continue. We're going to go next with Advaita Acharya and another. Any 9 p.m. discussion? Weather. Comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, one question
Yeah.
regarding Haridas Thakur. He is requesting Lord Chaitanya to bless him so that he can be a dog in the family. What is the significance of the dog? Does it to serve the owner,
Yeah.
or any other meaning?
That's the reason.
Okay.
There's two other secondary. They're lowly. You know, culturally, we don't keep dogs. But let me be a dog. But it's the faithfulness of the dog. That's the quality of a dog. Well-known quality of a dog. They're faithful to their master. I mean, it's the master feeds them and they're cared for. And lowly. So it's both. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes the same in his song. You know that one, right? That's the significant. Faithful. And insignificant. Anyone else? Yeah?
On these platforms that we just saying that we are from the church in the valley,
Yeah.
are we allowed to read Chaitanya Bhagavat on our own or via Guru?
You want to know? You want to know if it's okay to read? Sure. Now, the commentary for every single, well, almost every single verse in Chaitanya Bhagavat is from Bhaktisiddhanta. As Prabhupada wrote commentary for Chaitanya Charitamrita, he wrote commentary for Chaitanya Bhagavat. So we can be guided by the spiritual power, potency, and insight and purity of Bhaktisiddhanta. Just like, a BBT publication, Sri Brahma Samhita, Bhaktisiddhanta's commentary in English. And his commentary in Chaitanya Bhagavat is in Bengali, translated into English. But, you indicate, if you're asking, if your question is exploring, is it okay? It's okay. And verification of it's okay is commentary by Bhaktisiddhanta, so that you won't get misled or be scratching your head wondering what does this mean, what does that mean. The commentary is there, so we can, and the right what do you call that? Even under his BBT label or Bhaktisiddhanta Book Trust, it's his commentary. That's what it's called. Okay, Prabhupada.
Yeah.
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 Would you like to take some of this,
But I don't, I'm not really hungry.
you don't want to take it. I have some soup.
Whatever you make of it.
Okay.
There are 3 suitcases. The big, medium-sized, large suitcase.
Okay.
On the upper left corner, there's boxes of Mahaprasada.
Okay.
Radha Shama Sundar. Don't go too far away.
He said he's not really.
No, I don't. Very kind of you. But, Okay.
Anti-static.
Huh?
It's an anti-static fire canopy.
Okay. Just in case you can understand it. I'll look at it later. Thank you. Gloves, yeah, let's look for the gloves.
Sometimes when we touch the laptops, we get the starting spot.